ethical leadership. Welcome, Balvinder.
Leadership, ethical leadership, they are two different components, leadership and ethics. All of you are leaders. At some point of time or at moments, you are leader at family level, and you are leader here in the Toastmaster, and you are leader at different situations in the office. So leadership is very, very valuable, and leaders are everywhere. But without the ethics, the leadership becomes a negative part. So you might have just now Savesh mentioned about scarcity. Ethics in the leadership is the scarcity. We are short of leaders who practice ethics. What do we call those leaders who are very good at ethics in their personal lives, in their professional lives? There's no hypocrisy. They are what they look to be, they are what they are. What do you think those leaders are called? Have you heard about what the term statesmanship? It's the statesmanship in quality in the leaders that makes them. The quality of leadership and ethics, the leaders who have these qualities, they are the statesmen. If you look at the history of the world, there are only very few statesmanship leaders you will find. Most of them are just leaders. Leaders are of different types. Leaders are political leaders, community leaders, and business leaders. You can see these leadership embodies power. They have the power. And what is the power for? What for the power? And where are they directing the power? They have a control over masses, people. They can get the audience call to action, and they can get them to do something, whatever they want, depending on the goal. And it's here the ethics comes. The history is replenished with rogue leaders in politics, in business, as well as in community. In politics, the ethical leaders, I can tell you the example of ethics leaders in the political, very prominent ethical leaders. Mahatma Gandhi of India is a towering figure in the world. Every country in the world refers to Gandhi when it comes down to ethical leaders. Nelson Mandela. And the rogue leaders, rogue political leaders, definitely come to your mind. There are plenty. They are now also existing. They are in the past. Hitler is the best example. Hitler was democratically elected. He had 80% votes. And what did he do? He created such a problem for the world, which we are still experiencing the consequences. There are too many leaders, too many rogue leaders. So, like when the leaders have to take action, it's not easy for them to take action. They go through a dilemma. They have to take some actions which will be unpopular, but will be in the best interest of the subjects. So it's here the leadership quality steps in what action do you take? Most of the leaders in democratic countries take populist actions. That's where they are damaging country, they are spoiling the people. What they are getting is they are just propping up their own image. That's not a statesmanship of leaders. In business leader, you always heard about scandals, corruption, and inside security. Those business leaders are the rogue leaders. There are very good and very few examples of very ethical business leaders. I can show, say, Tata family in India. Many of you know what Tata in India, come from India. Tata family is the J.R.D. Tata and Ratan Tata, still alive. They are the best ethical business leader in the world one could ever imagine. The welfare schemes nowadays you find in these countries, developed countries, they were introduced by Tata families well before the concept existed in the government. And there are broke businesses which are just, what are the rogue businesses? They have CEOs. They look after only the shareholders, they say. But what do they do to keep the value of the shares? What do they do? They lay off thousands of people. What happens to the people? What happens to their lives? They have kids. They have mortgages to pay. They have no food on the table. They are the mortgage. This currently, unfortunately, is the situation at the moment in the world. So most of the businesses are practicing that concept of business leadership, which is very, very dangerous. So therefore, similarly in the community, like even in the religious field, and the business community, I can tell you another example of rogue leadership. Mark Zuckerberg, Facebook. He is utilizing all your data for very wrong purposes and giving to very wrong people. And this is not an ethical business leader practice. So these are the things. So there are plenty of things like that. Whatever action leaders take, it reflects on the people's life, it affects their life, it has consequences. The leadership has to be, kind-hearted but strong-minded. The ethical leaders have to be kind-hearted and but strong-minded. So that's how this is the concept of ethical leaders. They are unethical leaders, they are rogue leaders, but they are statesmen. It's people who love the statesmen, they are remembered in the history forever. They stay there. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Balvinder. That was very effective ethics speech. Now I would like to welcome Carl on the stage for the general evaluation for our initial session.
Thank you very much, Prediction. Yes, so the role of a general.
Thank you, Carl. It's very fascinating to hear how very professional speech always. He is very competent and very very knowledgeable person. And the topic was his passion, that's his passion. He is a health freak. And this is best ever topic. He can speak for years. And don't challenge, don't limit your challenge your audience. Very good answer. He very well utilized the visual aids for presentation of his speech, and he used this stage appropriately at every moment, and hand gestures was very appropriate, eye contacts and hand gestures very appropriate. He used to present the speech, and the content was very well prepared. Yes, that is a passionate subject. There's no reason to get stuck or fight out there. Healthy habits, healthy eating, mental health, and to exercise for everything. He summarized, and he was very comfortable, and the tone and the texture of his voice and the level of the voice very appropriate, very clear, very pointed, stating the speech. I have a suggestion for him. He was over time. He is most of the time really he has to take care of his expect, because once you go over time, you are, when you are in the competition, you become knowledgeable for the speech. And he was actually last time. And I will advise Carl to add another adage to this speech. This is what he does, to challenge the limit, look after the health. If we could have put it up like that way, how to maintain the work-life balance, how to balance the work with this, then it probably better idea, and it could have added a more interesting aspect to this speech. Overall, well done, beautifully presented, and very exciting and very useful speech. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for that evaluation of my speech.